Hey, what's happening? I am Coach Ryan Family. I am here today in the VIPAR pit. I'm going to answer a question for you that I've been getting a lot of. I'm just going to give you a really basic template that you can use if your goal is muscle growth. All right? Get a lot of questions. People just don't know how to structure their workouts. They feel lost when they're in the gym. And so I'm going to show you the way. All right? Now, this isn't the only way to gain muscle. There are a plethora of ways that you can pack on size. There's a ton of different templates or programs to use. This is just an effective one that I've used and that I've used with clients. So I'm going to share it with you. You can plug and play as you wish, all right? Or you could say, screw VIPAR, I'm not going to do it at all. I don't care, all right? I'm just trying to share good information for you. That's my whole goal here, is to give you ideas, get the wheels turning so that you can help come up with your own programs a little bit better. I've used this template very successfully. And you can plug and play different exercises. So when we look at the anatomy of a workout, there tends to be, I don't want to say there's a best way, but there are some ways that are better than others at accomplishing a certain goal. A couple things are true. When you're trying to grow a muscle, you need to place a load on that muscle that is progressive. You need to create metabolic stress in that muscle, and you need to be able to feel that muscle contracting. All right, so with all that in mind, that's how I designed this basic workout template. It's super, super simple, okay? But for those of you that have been kind of wandering aimlessly around the gym, give this a try. It may give you some guidance and direction. So, when you come into the gym, you want to start off with some activation. When I'm talking about activation, I'm talking about the brain sending a signal to the muscles to contract. A lot of times people have trouble with neuromuscular activation. Now, activation is going to occur best in the most shortened position of a muscle and with longer term isometric holds. So for example, so you have to know a little bit of anatomy when you're crafting your workouts with this, but it shouldn't be too difficult. The biceps, for example, flex the elbow, okay? They also flex the shoulder. So a fully shortened biceps is going to be something where the arm is up here and you're curling this way. This is a short biceps. And if you even just go like that, just standing, you can feel it cramp. So a good activation drill for biceps would be like a high pulley behind the head cable pull down curl from the top, okay? The other thing is with isometric holds, this is going to signify or solidify the messaging from the brain to the muscle. So we want to hold those activations for around 6 to 10 seconds on average. Weight is secondary. It almost does not matter. In fact, you could even do it with no external resistance whatsoever, and it's still going to be beneficial for you. I like a little bit of external resistance for cueing, but it's not an absolute must, especially if you're having trouble finding an exercise or a machine or some way to load it in the fully shortened position. Just do it with body weight. Totally cool. So again, we're trying to get the feel. Bodybuilders forever, we're talking about mind-muscle connection. This is exactly what we're talking about here, all right? The next phase of the workout, and this should be non-fatiguing. You're not trying to crush a muscle in oblivion here. You're just trying to wake it up, get it prepared for the work that's about to come. Next part, the progressive compound movement. This is going to be your big meat and potatoes movement for the day. These are things like your barbell squats, your barbell bench presses, your chin-ups, your deadlifts, things of that nature, things that you can load up and move a lot of weight on. Key word here being progressive. Actually, compound's a key word too. Progressive compound is the whole thing, okay? It has to have both. When we talk about progressive, we mean adding weight week to week. Weight is the driver here. Don't micromanage muscle contraction or try to squeeze a specific muscle. It's a compound movement. You want to use load and you want to be explosive on this. So on your bench press, don't be thinking about, oh, I gotta tighten up my pecs and go super slow so I feel it in my pecs. No. The feel was on your activation exercise. Now it's time to go, baby. We're done with the touchy-feely, at least for now. Time to load up some weight on the bar and Hulk smash, all right? So use a lot of weight, as much as you can for the given rep range, with good technique, of course, and try to improve that over time. That's the progressive. If you're trying to grow your legs and you can only squat 225 for 10 right now, and you get that squat to 455 for 10, do you think your legs are gonna be bigger? Probably, right? So adding weight over time to a compound movement is one of the most critical elements of hypertrophy. It's one that a lot of people miss. A lot of people, as soon as the exercise starts to get hard, oh, my body, I need to switch it up. I need to give my body a break, so they change exercises. Maybe in some cases, yes, but for a lot of people, that time when you normally switch exercise is the time you should probably stick with it and keep going and work harder, adding more weight. It's not always gonna be fun, people. Sometimes it's gonna suck. Sometimes you're just gonna hate the exercise you're doing. But if you want progress, you want progress, and you're gonna continue to drive and add weight, okay? Once that's over, actually, one more thing. The progressive compound movements are typically not ones you go to complete failure on. So we're not talking about bench pressing until someone has to drag the bar off your chest. We're not talking about squatting until you have to bail the weight on the pins. That's probably a little too far. It's not wise to do with your progressive compound movements. With these, you could look at like a powerlifting program. Percentage-based stuff works really well here, where you're not necessarily going to failure, but there's a loading scheme built in over time so that over time you get stronger, okay? Again, tend to want to avoid failure on those days. Now, when we get to, so we get the progressive stuff done, we've done the heavy stuff. We've woken the muscle up, done the heavy stuff. Now it's time to churn and burn, baby. All right, so now it's about metabolic stress. Metabolic stress is when you are doing a lot of reps, not a lot of rest, and basically the muscle lacks oxygen supply. So you get this buildup of metabolites. Well, those metabolites, not only does the blood flow bring a lot of nutrients to the tissue, so if you're slamming an intra-workout drink to bring amino acids and carbohydrates to the tissue and other goodies, your creatines, your citrulline, things like that, your carnitines. Whole nother topic, sorry, just went off the side there. But if you got a lot of blood flow to the tissue, but then the metabolites themselves create a cellular swelling effect with a pump. And that pump can actually signal muscular hypertrophy. So this is the time where we are looking to really create a lot of fatigue. For this stuff here, the progressive stuff, you want full recovery. You want to recover well enough between sets that you can perform well on your next set. It's not about burning it out or making yourself excessively tired. Down here, however, your C1 and your C2 exercises, this should be about burning yourself out. This should be about Hulk smash, crush, kill the muscle, and then go home, eat, recover, sleep, let it grow. Now, C1, C2 denotes a superset. So what this means is you would do a set of C1 and then follow it with a set of C2 before going back to C1, and you alternate back and forth until all are done. C1 could be a compound movement or an isolation movement. Ideally, it should be something that's pretty safe to go to failure on, because now we're at the point we want to go till you can't go anymore. All right, we're going to muscular failure. You could do it on compound moves. So for example, in the pec situation, you could do it on a dumbbell press. It's a little safer to go to failure on than a barbell press. You could also do it on different push-up variations. Lots of things you can do for that. C2 has a special component to it. It's going to be a stretched position isolation movements. So if we remember earlier, we're talking about the biceps. The biceps flex the elbow, they also flex the shoulder. So this is fully shortened. So then this back here would be fully lengthened. So something like an incline dumbbell curl would be a stretched position movement for biceps. Now, what's unique about what we're going to do here on C2, the stretched position tends to create a little damage in the muscle fibers. So you're pulling the fibers apart in that deep stretch position. That's going to allow a lot of blood and nutrients into the tissue. So you're going to get a heck of a pump by alternating between a stretch movement, and then for the compound and isolation movement, it could be a shortened position or a mid-range position movement in terms of muscular recruitment. Really doesn't matter there. There's some nuance there, but that would be a whole other video. So we're going to do that in superset, and then you're done for the day. If you work hard through this series, it's not going to take you a ton of time in the gym for this body part, but you're gonna feel it, all right? It's gonna stimulate new growth. Now, I'm not just going to leave you hanging with the template. I'm going to give you an actual workout. Here's an example of something that you could do if you're trying to train your pecs. All right, So first thing we do, walk into the gym, we're gonna need to wake up the pecs, all right? We're gonna need to get everything activated. So remember, what are the keys for this? Fully shortened movement and isometric holds. So we're gonna do a wide angle pec fly with internal rotation with a 6-second isometric on each rep for 2 sets of 6 with 90 seconds rest. Wide angle fly with internal rotation. We're gonna have the pulley handles out wide, and we're gonna squeeze in, and as we're squeezing in, we're internally rotating at the shoulder. The reason is because pec is an internal rotator, so in order to get it fully short, you have to twist inward and hold that position for 6 seconds. It's important that when you're in that shortened position, the line of resistance lines up so that you actually have some resistance. So for example, with a pulley pulling you this way, you've got a 90 degrees angle here from the moment arm to the resistance, so it works. A pulley wide angle fly works. A dumbbell fly doesn't work as much because gravity goes straight down, so it's in line with the moment arm. So a little bit of biomechanics knowledge is necessary here. Just make sure it's loaded and make sure you feel a good squeeze. Again, we're not fatiguing. We're doing 2 sets of 6, 6-second iso, nice long rest in between to get your mind right. Next, we're gonna progress. This is the progressive compound movement. In this case, we're looking at a 30 degree inclined barbell press. We're gonna do 3 sets of 6 to 8 with 3 to 4 minutes rest. Now, you're gonna be pretty antsy in that 3 to 4 minutes rest because that's kind of a long time for just one exercise, for rest between one exercise. But the key is, remember, we're trying to have the best possible performance in that 6 to 8 rep range. And by performance, I mean the heaviest possible load in that 6 to 8 rep range. What I tend to do here too is if it's 3 sets, I'll make the first 2 sets almost glorified warm-up sets. So in the case of using a hunt, let's just arbitrarily say your goal for the day, and it's also worth mentioning you should have goals in your mind for each exercise before you hit the gym that day. But if your goal for the day is say 100 pounds for 8, you would go in and maybe do 60 to 70 pounds for your first set, and then maybe 80 to 90 somewhere in there for your second set, and then try 100 for your last set. Only go all out on the last set, okay? And even still, it's not to failure. Now the bigger key here, rather than what weight you use this week, is to just ensure that next week you use a little bit more. It can be as simple as 2.5 pound plate on either side of the bar. It could be more. You're gonna have to gauge that. I don't know you, I don't know your exercise history, but that's where the progressive comes in. Week to week, you have to get stronger. So I almost prefer you start too light on that one, and where the first workout, like, man, that's easy. Cool, next week just add more and progress over time, all right? Then we get to the turn and burn, okay? C1 and C2. We got a machine chest press. You're gonna do 3 sets of 12 to 15. No rest between the chest press and C2, the flat dumbbell fly. So you're gonna crank out 12 to 15 reps on the chest press machine to failure. So what that means is if you're going to failure, and let's say the rep range is 12 to 15, but the weight is actually a little too light, just keep going. You may get 21, and then just learn to adjust the rep range in future weeks so that you fail within that 12 to 15 rep range. But all 3 sets should be to failure on that. You immediately pop up, no rest, boom, flat dumbbell fly, 12 to 15 reps to failure again. But you got a surprise in here. After you hit that last rep that you can't lift anymore, you're gonna hold that stretch position, that wide fly position on the flat bench for 30 seconds after that set. Woo! That's gonna burn. I promise you, it's gonna burn like crazy. And it's in that stretch position. So now we're really stretching apart those muscle fibers. And then when we come back to do another set of C1, man, it's gonna force a ton of blood in there. You're not gonna, I bet you've never felt a pump like you're about to feel with this superset. If you do this correctly, you're not gonna have it in you to do anything else that day. I promise you that. And if you do, if you think you can do this for 3 body parts in one day, I'm just gonna tell you you're not training hard enough. I'm sorry, this should cook your goose for most trainees if you're doing it correctly, all right? So that's a template for you. Again, you can do this for every body part. Just plug and play the different exercises, keep the principles the same. This is one way to train for muscle growth, and it's a way that I've had a lot of success with. So don't worry, you don't have to fret, is it gonna work, is it not gonna work? I promise you, if you eat properly and you do it really, really hard and with great intent and stick with the principle of each block of the training day, in other words, don't micromanage contraction on this incline barbell press. Don't try to slowly squeeze up with just your pecs. Use everything, violent, boom, punch it, focus on the weight. All right, keep the principles intact for each of these sections. I promise you'll grow. All right, I promise you that. All right. If you like these templates, let me know. I've got many, many more that I can show you of different ways to structure a workout. We could call this the anatomy of a workout series if you guys want to see. I can do some power-oriented ones more for athletes. I can do some fat loss-oriented ones. I can do muscle growth for different body parts. You let me know in the comments below what you want to see more of, all right? I'm Coach Ryan Family from the VIPAR Pit. If you like this video, please hit subscribe below. I'll see you next time. Peace.